In just a few short days, it will be Christmas again. The birth of our Savior, the God-human, God incarnate. The idea that God comes and resides with us as human beings. This idea that that's precisely where God should be, right here with us, in us, among us, working through us, transforming us. And as I'm walking right now outside, I am literally walking along this path outside of our building here at Grace. And this is sort of a little circle where potentially a building might be in the future. Buildings are important. We are buildings as people. We are housing the divine inside of us, just as Mary housed the divine Christ inside of her. We continue to give birth to God each and every moment of our lives, that each and every aspect has the capacity to rebirth the divine God, Jesus Christ, in our lives and the lives of other people. And we as a church, that's our mission as well. That's what we are supposed to be about, birthing God in the lives of people. That's what Christmas really is all about. That Jesus Christ is reborn in us each and every December. That God comes to us in a new way, in the middle of a moment, in the middle of a circumstance, in the middle usually of a crisis. And we had no idea that Christ was right there. And I'm walking this path here in front of our building here at Grace because I also am thinking about the future. I'm thinking about, where is Christ taking us? Where will God lead us in this next year? How is that birth of the divine inside of us as a church going to transform ourselves, transform me as a pastor, transform the communities of people, the houses that are all around, and the houses that are going to be built over the next year? This past week, I spent time with our elders, our session, our group of people who in many ways run the church, who make decisions, who lead committees, who do really good work in making our ministries and programs happen on a weekly basis, making decisions that will affect the rest of the year. In fact, we spent most of our time talking about the budget for 2018, and literally your session elders combed their way through every line item in our budget, discussing every aspect of it, because they care about how we utilize our money. They care about what we're going to accomplish in the next year. They care about being good stewards. And so they spent minute after minute after minute, hour after hour, working through this document put together by the finance committee that had budget proposals from every committee inside of it, trying to figure out, how can we do good ministry in a responsible way in the upcoming year? How can we allow God to be rebirthed at Grace here in the next year? How can we impact the lives of people who will walk inside of these doors, as well as people who will never darken these doors over the next year? How will we birth Jesus Christ anew? And so as I walk this path where potentially a building will be built in the future, a whole new sanctuary, a whole new architecture that will embrace people, but more importantly, will embrace the divine being rebirthed again. I walk this path knowing that what we do as a church, what our elders do in leading us, what we do in budget time, and what we do with our money and stewarding it, what I do as a pastor in preaching, in leading and caring, that all of these things bring forth God in the lives of people who never thought that it was possible. So, how are you going to do that in your life? How will you allow Christ to be reborn in the next several days, in this next year for you? How will your faith allow God to be reborn in the lives of people that you touch, the people that you encounter, the people you have conversations with? How will your budget be something that you steward and allow God to be reborn in that? How will your time, your minutes, your schedule, how will the tedious things of everyday life, how will all of this contribute in 2018 to Jesus Christ being fully human and fully God in your life? Over these next few days, treasure the holy day, the holy day. Treasure this deep sense that God can be reborn in you and in me and in us as a church, in our communities, in our world. I hope to see you on Christmas Eve this coming Sunday. We have a 10 a.m. family service where we're going to be singing carols and having our kids act out the Christmas story as Pastor Matt and I narrate it. At 8 o'clock p.m. we will have our carol and candlelight service. Our choir's going to be doing several different pieces throughout the service. I encourage you to come out, listen to the music, listen to Christ being reborn in your heart as the sounds of the music come through your ears, as I deliver a sermon about that night when Jesus was born. And then some of you are daring enough to come out at 11 o'clock p.m. where we will do candlelight and communion. It will be an intimate group of us singing carols together, lighting those candles, singing Silent Night. Would love to have you at any one of these three services, or if you are courageous enough that you will come out to a couple of them. I hope you have a wonderful Merry Christmas. May God show up to you in ways that you never imagined. We'll see you on Sunday.